I've been wanting to sit with you and tell you a little story. I, uh, actually, how do I begin? I bought something new for myself the other day, and it reminded me of a common topic here among us Americans in Mexico. The subject comes up, uh, I'll word it in two different ways. One is, what should I bring with me when I move to Mexico, or what is the one thing I should have brought with me that I didn't? And the answers vary from, medications or, trying to think, maybe old movies, some CDs, which I brought. Uh, I'll tell you my answer usually is bring your favorite jeans. Not a lot. We have jeans here. You can buy Levi's anywhere. But if you have some favorites, by all means. I am a favorite jeans kind of guy. Well, and shirts, and your baseball caps, your shoes, a few of those. Granted, you can buy new here, but at least to start. But don't bring furniture, don't bring that stuff. You don't want any of that old life with your new life. And most of what I'll tell you, almost none of what I had in my previous house would have looked right in this house. And so consider that. Well, one of the things that I did I did think about was my pillow. I know, it sounds silly, but let me explain. I had the most fabulous pillow. And I know it sounds silly to have any affection or fondness or attachment to a pillow, but I did. And I'll tell you why. I had always wanted one of those, what do you call them? Therapeutic, no, there's a brand name and a title that you assign to these kinds of pillows. They're very hard, kind of tough, spongy, and you just sort of sink into it and it holds the shape. It doesn't shrink up to nothing during the night. And I got one of these years ago, and I decided to bring it with me. But what's fascinating, and I recently replaced it. I'm going to show you here in a minute. Aren't you excited? It is a microsphere, I don't know, memory. I spent a bit of time before I bought that. I should have bought that a couple of years ago, but I was always hesitant. I'd see pillows for sale at the Soriana or Coppel, and I would consider them, and I'd think, well, that's just not what I want. They're nice, and that would, and so I put it off. And the other day, I looked one more time, and they had one of these. Well, let me go back and tell you the story. Some of my oldest and best friends in the recent years in the old country were Craig and Dan. Now, Craig Singletary, some of you know, but he and I became good friends going all the way back to the end. Yeah, it was December. How could I forget? The circumstances were remarkable. Sometime we'll talk about that, or maybe not. but December 2011, and we became friends, then enemies, and then we became friends again. But he was just a delightful man, a young man, and had so much energy and a fun spirit that he was everybody's best friend. Well, he and Dan became a couple, and they lived just a few blocks from me. I think I counted 7 blocks, walkable, as we say here. But and they had a couple of cute little dogs that visited me all the time. We had a lot of fun. Oh, and they kept Rusty when I had to be away. But one day they invited me to go to the bin store. It was let me think here. Salvation? No, the other one. Goodwill. Goodwill had a kind of a depot, sorting place. You know, you can make donations at individual stores, but at the end of the season, for all of that stuff that doesn't sell, slowly goes back to a warehouse. And I did not know about that. And they invited me to go with them to this warehouse. And I thought, no, you know, I'm a thrift store geek, and so I should have been interested, but I wasn't. But then they persuaded me, and I will tell you this much. Craig and Dan had been involved in this fundraiser that, oh God, what was it called? It had something to do with teddy bears. You'll have to correct me here. Teddy bears, yeah, the stuffed animals of any kind, but especially bears, because that was sort of the theme. And what does this mean? Well, they would decorate or dress a teddy bear in a costume. They would find a way to give it a jacket, a shirt, pants, maybe a belt, little shoes. They would give it a hat or earrings or a wig. It was great fun. And well, the purpose of this was to auction them off as a fundraiser, which was nationwide. And Craig and Dan had been very good at this. I think Craig learned it from Dan, and he became really good at it. It was a passion of his, and he did some really good stuff. Well, where do you get stuff to dress a bear? At the bin store. So they would go I think this was once a month, was it? Or every Friday, Saturday, probably a Saturday. I don't remember that, but I went with them only that one time. And sure enough, there were these wagons, big carts on 4 wheels, up about so high, and full of stuff. Shoes, women's clothing is what they tended towards. They were drawn to that sort of stuff. Now, I should explain that when you buy something there, it is sold by the pound. So you can buy a lot of stuff for, 20 cents, 50 cents. And so they would rummage through the shoes, and because they were collecting buckles, anything fancy from a lady's shoe, even the straps, the buckles, the ornaments, crystal, what do you call it? I'm thinking of the jeweled pieces. And they found a lot of stuff there for hardly anything. Well, that day, in one of the carts, I spotted my pillow. It had never been opened. Can you believe that? It was brand new. And they were a lot of money, as I remember, and that's why I never had one. So I bought it that day. What would this have been? 2015 at the latest? 16? Because I moved away in 19. Anyway, that's the story. And so I'm going to open mine. I got this a month ago because I wanted to wait and open it with that story. I'm hoping it fits one of my pillowcases. It may not. Look at that. Oh my God. I'm so happy. And I bought it with my credit card, so my Copal credit card, so I can always have a balance to pay there. But I think it will be perfect. I think it'll be just right. As you can see, it's a high compression kind of thing, and not very big. The smaller the better, to be honest. But this is standard size, and that's okay. I love my pillow. I wish I had a teddy bear. Well, that's my story. Like it, don't like it. Thanks. Bye.